A wise man once said that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. For me, a journey always seems to start with the packing. This is the start of my storytelling journey that will last nearly a month, and that means a month's worth of packing before I've even taken a step. Now, if I had my way, I'd get everybody to come to my house and I'd sit them down and I'd tell them stories in our front room. But that's just not the way that it is. When I first started storytelling and was travelling everywhere and anywhere from one end of the country to the other, I felt like a professional driver who sometimes got to tell stories now and again. I've worked it out that in the last 10 years I've driven to the moon, but not back. Having been a full-time folk singer for 25 years, I have got used to the touring. It's never dull, and in the last few years, as my reputation has grown, I can stay in one place, and I now average about 15,000 miles a year as I go to about 180 schools and colleges. Well, this is the first evening of the video diary. I wasn't 100% sure whether I wanted to do this, mostly because it means I have to carry a camera and a microphone. But as I thought about it, the more I was enamoured with the idea, the more I really liked the idea of keeping a video diary, mostly because I will be going away to Chile, and I thought that that's somewhere where I've never been, and it will have lots of different exciting things happening, and I thought that I would make this a trial run. I do look around the room, and by the way, this is one of my favourite places to stay in Manchester. As I look around the room, every time I turn up, I do have this ability to turn it into some kind of cowboy encampment by dumping all of the stuff that I need to bring with me. One time, I was under the mistaken impression that all I could do was turn up, tell stories and go away. But these days, everybody seems to need evidence. So what I've decided to do is I need to bring with me a computer and a printer and paper and inks and all of those kind of things. I've got kind of used to it. I don't go completely over the top, but it does seem like a lot of things. What I need to do this evening, after the long drive here to Manchester, is I do need to make sure that I've got all of the plans sorted for tomorrow. I'm working in a school that I worked with last year, with some different groups of children to the ones I was working with last year, but one of the teachers is the same, and she's very used to my methods and the kind of methodology that I use. But I've struck up a very strong relationship, a very strong working relationship with one of the teachers, the Year 3-4 teacher, and we're both bouncing ideas off one another. It's very satisfying work, but really now, even though I've just driven, what I need to do is I need to make sure that I've got all the plans in place, so there's a bit of writing to do just right now. Now, one of the hardest things is the fact that I'm working with anywhere up to 5 to 10 schools that all need some kind of evidence and record keeping. So I have learned in the last couple of years how really to make sure that I keep everything in the right place, so I know exactly where it is. So we need to do the planning for tomorrow, which is put in the school's name, followed by the teacher's name, which is followed by the dates that go with that. So I just need to pull up the last one that we worked on and then modify it slightly. I'm not 100% sure who's actually going to be reading these, but that's not that unusual these days. But it's good to have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted and the Q's curled at the bottom. So what I need to do is I need to work on, this is like the pre-session plan. In the class, what we're looking at is instructional language, and with the children and the age that they are, we're looking at something very basic. It's going to be a very physical task. It's going to be how they actually line up. So that's what I'm going to look at now. What we've got here is a list basically of the number of children, the place that they're going to be, how we're going to run the session. The idea being that with these instructional sheets that the children are going to prepare, and the first one that we're going to do just to dip our toe in the water is going to be how they line up. So they've got to go right from the very basics of walking up the stairs, standing in a straight line, making sure it's girl, boy, and we're going to use these because the next topic is going to be adventure stories. So really, it's an assessment of how well the children can actually write instructions for other people to understand, but then use those skills that they're going to develop into making something within a story, like a postcard, or it's going to be a letter that the hero of the next stories is going to receive. So they've got used to instructional language, so they're going to write an instructional letter in the middle of their adventure stories, having already done stories and poetry. So this really is a straight continuation on. What I do like to do is a serial approach to the work, so that each skill builds upon another skill. So the only thing I've got left to do this evening, after having printed out the instructional sheets for the two classes, is to print out some CDs, senders. I ran a competition when I was working with the Year 6s to design a DVD cover that would be used on the actual ones that I will sell, of me telling 5 Greek stories, and also to design a CD centre. So I'm going to print those out and I'll give it out to the children who won tomorrow. So quite exciting. Very good. Well, that's everything sorted, all printed. Now all I've got to do is tidy up this mess. So here I am inside of the school. It's been a busy morning. We've been looking at the instructional language, but like many things, things change. Teachers are absent, and sort of planning that I'd chosen to do, I won't be able to do this afternoon, mainly because there's been like a movement within the staff. So all of that planning that I did last night, I'll just have to use another day. But as you can imagine, with problems of disclosure, I can't actually show a film or photographs of me working with the children, but I can show you some of the work that I've done with them. So this is some work on poetry that I did with them last half term.
Choose your words, word them well, to cast a poem spell. Making time for a rhyme isn't such a crime. Like silver bells on a summer's wind, make your words rhyme.
Making time for a rhyme isn't such a crime. Like silver bells on a summer's wind, make your words rhyme.